Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ. In this lesson, we'll be discussing about environment current affairs of past 1 year, and this will be immensely helpful for all those who are appearing for UPSC Prelims 2017. I am Bhumika Saini. I have done my engineering from NIT Jaipur. I have appeared for UPSC interview 4 times. So let's start with environment current affairs. Now, the whole environment current affairs series will be divided into various parts, and I have bifurcated the environment topic into various sections. For example, we'll be discussing current affairs related to pollution, then current affairs related to all the species and their conservation that were in news, then issues related to climate change like Kyoto Protocol, Kigali Agreement, it was in news, in any organizations and conventions, environment related days and reports, for example, World Environment Day, World Wetland Day, the theme related to that, and reports like Living Planet Report, etc. And apart from that, any topic will be covered in miscellaneous section. So let's start with pollution in this lesson. Now, what is pollution? Pollution is actually introduction of any undesirable element in the environment that has a harmful effect on the environment. Now, this pollution can be classified into various types. It can be air pollution, it can be water pollution, soil pollution, noise pollution, radiation pollution, etc. So let's discuss about air pollution first. Now, air pollution, primarily there are two causes of air pollution. It can be natural causes or it can be anthropogenic causes. Now, natural causes are mainly due to volcanic emissions, dust storms, forest fires, etc. But the main problem is due to anthropogenic or man-induced air pollution. That can be divided into two parts, indoor air pollution and outdoor air pollution. So there are various causes of indoor air pollution. For example, usage of household chemicals like perfumes, etc., that are used in day-to-day activities in household, that can lead to air pollution if there is no adequate ventilation in the house. Right. Apart from that, if there is non-cleaning of filters of AC, that is air condition, that can also lead to indoor air pollution. In rural areas, especially, traditional chulas are used that emits a lot of smoke and particulate matters that can also affect the indoor air environment, and it also has a harmful effect on human health. Now, moving on to the causes related to outdoor air pollution. So the main cause behind outdoor air pollution is emission of chemicals and toxic pollutants. Now, this emission can be from factories, automobiles, any industrial or any manufacturing plant. For example, NO2 or CO2 or SO2. These are emitted from power plants, from automobile emissions, etc. Now, if these pollutants they come in contact with water, for example, there is precipitation. So these pollutants they are coming in contact with water. Now that will lead to formation of acids. These are harmful acids. For example, NO2 plus H2 will lead to nitric acid. CO2 plus H2 will lead to carbonic acid. SO2 plus H2 will lead to sulfuric acid, and these will eventually lead to formation of acid rain. That is again very harmful. Now, apart from this, other factors that lead to outdoor air pollution is construction industry, because a whole lot of dust and dirt is emitted from construction industry. Also in agriculture, like tractors are used in plowing, they are also used in transporting agriculture goods. So that also emits dust as well as dirt. Now let's discuss few questions related to this. Which of the following gases are associated with acid rain? Just now we have discussed acid rain: sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, methane, and ozone. Attempt this question and write in the comment section. Now moving on to other topics related to air pollution. National Air Quality Index. This index was launched by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and it is a part under Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Now what is National Air Quality Index? It is one number, one color, one description. What does this mean? One number means the index value. That is the number. If it is in the range of 0 to 50, then that will correspond to green color, and description will be good air quality. So this is one number, one color and one description. And this is very common for a common man to judge the air quality. Now this National Air Quality Index, it is published every month by CPCB. Remember the ministry, remember the organization which publishes it every month. Okay. Now there are total 6 categories of in the National Air Quality Index. One is good if the value of the National Air Quality Index is between 0 to 50. It is satisfactory if it is between 51 to 100. It is moderately polluted if it is between 101 to 200. It is poor if it is between 201 to 300. It is very poor if it is between 301 to 400, and it is severe if it is between 401 to 500. Now, how this index is calculated? This index is determined on the basis of concentration of 8 pollutants. These 8 pollutants include particulate matter 2.5 and 10. Particulate matter, these are solid and liquid particles. These are very fine particles. This 2.5 and 10, it actually is the size of the particle. This is 2.5 microns and 10 microns. Apart from this, PM 2.5 and PM 10, sulfur dioxide, NO2, carbon monoxide. Remember, CO2 is not there among these 8 pollutants. Remember it. Ozone, ammonia, and lead. So these are the 8 pollutants that are measured to calculate National Air Quality Index. So these are the here there are total 8 pollutants, right? And here we have all the 6 categories. Okay. Now this question was asked in Prelims 2016. That is, what all gases are considered in calculating the value of air quality index? Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, methane. Now attempt this question and answer it in the comment section. Now moving on to other topics related to air pollution current affairs. Now government has declared that BS6 will be rolled out in India from 2020. Earlier, there was an auto fuel policy of India that had actually declared that it should be rolled out from 2024. But now we are expediting this process and it will be rolled out from 2020. So that's why this was in news. Plus BS4 was also in news recently, because from 1st April 2017, BS4 norms will be applicable in all over country. Now, what are these BS norms? These are Bharat stage norms, and these are standards that are based on European regulations. So these standards, these are set by CPCB, that is Central Pollution Control Board, under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. What are the objectives of these standards? The main objective is to regulate the output of air pollutants from internal combustion engines and spark ignition engines. Now, what are these pollutants? These pollutants actually are CO, hydrocarbons, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter. So, under these norms, they actually specify the permissible emission limit for these pollutants, right? And when India needs to move from BS4 directly to BS6, skipping BS5, then we need to introduce two technologies in our vehicles. One is selective catalytic reduction, that is mainly for reducing oxides of nitrogen. And second is diesel particulate filter, that is mainly for particulate matter reduction. So let's study these two technologies in detail and what are the constraints like with respect to usage of these technologies. So one is diesel particulate filter. So remember, diesel particulate filter is for diesel engines. Okay, so diesel particulate filter. Now this is diesel particulate filter. It is actually a cylinder that will be mounted in the engine compartment. Okay, now why it is like what is the main objective of DPF? The main objective is to remove particulate matter. Remember, particulate matter from the diesel exhaust. But there are constraints in this technology. One is this DPF, it requires temperature of up to 600 degrees Celsius. Now such temperatures are very difficult to be achieved in Indian conditions. Second, when this DPF will be actually put in the engine compartment, then the size of the that is size of the bonnet of the cars will be increased. Now in case of India, generally the cars with sub 4-meter mark, that avails excise benefit. Now if the car size will increase, then they cannot avail excise benefit. So that's why automobile manufacturers are actually not much happy with this transition directly from BS4 to BS6. Okay. Now moving on to other technology, that is in this case we are using selective catalytic reduction technology. In selective catalytic reduction technology, this is mainly for reducing nitrogen oxides. Right now, what technology will be used in this? In this, actually an aqueous solution, that is OS32. This solution contains ammonia that will be used in selective catalytic reduction. Right now, again for putting in ammonia or this OS32 solution, we need a separate container. That is again a challenge. And apart from putting a separate container, there needs to be an anti-defect mechanism. Now, anti-defect mechanism means whenever the OS32 solution is not there in the vehicle, or it needs to be refilled, then this vehicle should go in limp mode. right? So again, you need separate infrastructure for providing such facility. So that's why the automobile companies need to invest a lot in putting these technologies in the automobiles. Okay, so these are the two technologies: a diesel particulate filter for diesel engines and selective catalytic reduction. DPF is for reduction of particulate matter, and selective catalytic reduction is for reducing the oxides of nitrogen. Okay, now let's move to another topic, that is Hawa Badlo app. So this app was recently launched by Environment Pollution Prevention and Control Authority. Remember this organization. Now this app looks like this. Now this is the home page of the app, and these are the main screens. So in this app, now this app will allow people to report incidents of air pollution to the government, like leaf and garbage burning and any dust generated by construction activity. So you can see it here: leaf and garbage burning, building construction, etc. So people can now directly report it to the government. And here the unique aspect is that all the complaints will be geo-referenced. For example, the time and location of the complaints can be easily it will be geo-referenced. And the app also has a separate section for officials to resolve cases and upload evidence of the action to be taken. And this app will also generate weekly report, which will be sent to center and state pollution control boards. So remember, this app launched by Environment Pollution Control Authority, and it can allow people to report incidences of leaf and garbage burning as well as building construction activity. Okay. Now, another topic related to air pollution current affair was Environment Ministry has recently notified graded response action plan. Now, what is this graded response action plan? Let's understand this. So, first is which ministry has launched it? Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And this is mainly to combat air pollution in NCR Delhi region only, right? It has not been launched to, it is not actually applicable for all over India. It is mainly for NCR Delhi region. Now, second thing is that the plan has been prepared by CPCB and it was submitted to Supreme Court. Supreme Court accepted the plan and it had asked later Union government to notify it. And thereafter, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has notified this plan. Okay. Now, what is this plan all about? This plan, it defines the measures to be taken based on air quality on the basis of PM 2.5 and 10. Remember, in National Air Quality Index, we were actually calculating the air quality on the basis of 8 pollutants. But in Graded Response Action Plan, there are only 2 pollutants that are taken into account, PM 2.5 and PM 10. Now, why this is known as graded response? Because the air quality will be actually classified into various grades. It can be emergency, severe, very poor, and moderately poor. Now, emergency, it means that when the PM 2.5 levels will reach above 300 microgram per meter cube, or PM 10 levels will reach over 500 microgram per meter cube in last 2 days or in past 48 hours, then such measures will be taken by the government, like introducing odd even scheme. Then stopping entry of trucks, construction activities will be banned. So such activities will be taken up, like setting up task force to look into shutting of schools. If it is severe, then it means that the PM 2.5 level is between 121 to 250 microgram per meter cube, and PM 10 level is between 351 to 430 microgram per meter cube. Now, what all action will be taken here? Brick kilns will be closed, stone crushers, shutting down of Badarpur power plant in Delhi, intensifying public transportation, right? Apart from that, if it is very poor, then that means PM 2.5 level is between 121 to 250 microgram per meter cube, and PM 10 level is between 351 to 430 microgram per meter cube. Now, the actions that will be taken if the air quality is very poor are stopping the usage of diesel generators, increasing the parking fee by 3 to 4 times, increasing bus, metro services, that is public transportation, and stopping the use of coal in hotels, open eateries, etc. Now, if the air quality is moderately poor, that is between PM 2.5 level is between 61 to 120 microgram per meter cube, and PM 10 level is between 101 to 350 microgram per meter cube, then the actions that will be taken are stopping the garbage burning, mechanized sweeping on roads, water sprinklers will be there, will be used on unpaved roads, enforcing Supreme Court ban on firecrackers, and using social media to inform people about pollution and sensitizing people. and this particular graded response action plan will be enforced by Environment Pollution Control Authority. Remember, this can be asked in prelims, which organization will enforce this plan, right? Particulate matter, this we have already discussed, that these are tiny particles of dust, right? And it causes very serious respiratory disorders. PM 2.5 and PM 10 are actually the size of the particles in microns. Now, another topic, that is ammonia detected in the upper troposphere. So recently, scientists for the first time have detected ammonia in the upper troposphere, and the concentrations were the highest above India and China. So from which source ammonia is released mainly? This is mainly released into atmosphere as agriculture emission from livestock farming. So mainly from agriculture, the ammonia is released. Now, what is the significance of this discovery? First of all, as we all know that plants and crops, they definitely need ammonia to grow, but too much of ammonia can be harmful for the environment as well as it can be harmful for human health. But remember, ammonia as a gas can be used as a cooling agent. So it can help us in offsetting greenhouse gas effect. That is the whole concept of global warming and the anthropogenic emission of greenhouse gas that can be controlled by this emission of ammonia, because it is a cooling agent. Ammonia can also act as an aerosol. Now, what are aerosol? Let's discuss this. Aerosols are tiny particles made from superfine solid particles and liquid droplets. So remember, aerosols can be solid, it can be liquid also, right? And these aerosols, they are carried in the atmosphere because these are very fine particles. Now, these aerosols are hygroscopic nuclei. Hygroscopic means they are water-loving nuclei, and that's why the cloud formation takes place along these aerosol or these hygroscopic nuclei. So you can see aerosols, they serve as seeds for cloud formation. So the water particles, this just gets attached to the aerosols or these nuclei. Now, aerosols can also modify the size of cloud particles. It can change how the clouds reflect and absorb sunlight. So if the aerosols are light, it can reflect light. But if the aerosols are dark, right, that can absorb and re-emit light. So it will define how the sunlight will come on earth, right? And it can also lead to redder sunrises and sunset. So from what all sources aerosol is emitted? It can be emitted by burning of biomass. It can be emitted from power plants also. Okay. Now, as we have discovered ammonia in the upper troposphere, so let's discuss about troposphere. As you all know, our Earth atmosphere is divided into various layers. So the lowest layer is troposphere, then above it is stratosphere, then mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. Now, this troposphere is actually the turbulent layer where all the weather phenomena takes place, right? So most of the clouds in the atmosphere are mainly in the troposphere. All the condensation, evaporation, precipitation, all the weather related activities are taking place in the troposphere only. Okay. Now let's discuss another topic, that is fly ash utilization policy. So recently Maharashtra became the first state to adopt such policy. Now this policy, which envisages to utilize all the coal waste at source. So let's discuss what is fly ash and how it is beneficial or how it may be harmful as well. Okay, now fly ash is actually one of the byproduct, or it is emitted by coal combustion process, and it is composed of very fine particles. These are driven out from the power plants. So the ash that is driven out in the form of gas, that is known as fly ash, right? But the ash that falls at the bottom of the boiler, that is known as bottom ash. Now fly ash, it contains substantial amounts of silica, aluminium, calcium oxide. So it contains this substantial amounts of this. That's why, see, it contains calcium. That is why it can be used in this cement industry also. Then there are some trace elements like arsenic, boron, chromium, lead, etc. That is harmful for human beings. So that is also found in traces in fly ash. So it poses hazards to environment and health. Now, because of the constituents of fly ash, it can be used for various purposes. For example, this fly ash can be used for production of cement. It can be used in brick industries. It can be used for construction of roads and embankments. It can be used for reclamation of land, for filling of mines, and in agriculture. Because of the constituents, that are present in the fly ash, it is used for various purposes. So Maharashtra was the first state to adopt such a policy. Now, Indira Gandhi International Airport, it is the first airport that has become Asia Pacific's only airport, and it is one of the world's few airport to achieve a carbon neutral status. Now, what is carbon neutral status? Let's discuss this. Carbon neutral status is given to any company or any organization where there is no net release of CO2 in the air. So, whatever carbon it is taking, it is consuming, and whatever carbon it is emitting, that are equally balanced. Okay, so there is net zero carbon footprint. So this is important. You should understand what is carbon neutral status, and since IGI is the first airport that has achieved this status, so that is very important. Now this news was there in November, the concept of stubble burning. Now in November, farmers in Punjab, they actually sow crops such as wheat and vegetables. So what happened? Whenever there is harvesting, generally farmers leave the residue of the crops after harvesting. So that is known as stubble. So the residue that is left over crop after harvesting is known as stubble. So farmers generally leave that residue on the field, but it was seen in Punjab that farmers, they are burning this stubble. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of stubble burning? Let's discuss this. This can be asked in prelims. So first of all, what is the benefit of keeping residue? Why the farmers go for keeping that residue after harvesting? One is it provides a protective layer of soil erosion. Now you can see it here. This particular layer, this is covered by stubble. It is not barren. The soil is not open. So it will prevent soil erosion. Second, it will increase the organic content in the soil, and definitely it will increase the water holding capacity of the soil, because the water, this soil will be bound by the roots of the residue, and the water holding capacity will increase, plus the organic matter will increase. It also provides feed for earthworms, which will eventually increase the fertility of soil. Plus, there will be the carbon nitrogen ratio will be very well maintained, right? Whenever we leave the residue, the carbon nitrogen ratio is very well maintained, because it ensures high microbial activity, it ensures more organic matter decomposition, and definitely that leads to nutrient release in the soil. So that's why this CN ratio is very well maintained, which is very good for enhancing the fertility of soil. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of stubble burning? So the main advantages of stubble burning is, one, it will prevent catastrophic fire. So because this residue is left over on the field, so it may catch fire, so it's better to burn it. Then it will provide ease of tillage, seeding, and other fielding operations. So whenever the stubble is burned, then it is very easy for the farmers to till the land and to do other operations like seeding operations, etc. Okay, but there are various disadvantages also of stubble burning. One is it will decrease the soil ammonium level. Why? Because now the soil is clear of any residue, right? And this residue was actually enhancing the nutrient in the soil. But now, since the stubble has been burned, so it will decrease the soil ammonium level. It will also increase the soil erosion. It will reduce the organic matter content, right? And it will definitely, once the organic matter is reduced, it also reduces the water intake and water retention capacity of the soil. Plus, it also releases harmful gases, so it leads to air pollution, and it may also lead to problem of smog. What is smog? Smog is fog plus smoke. So smoke, a whole lot of smoke is emitted after burning stubble, especially in case of paddy stubble burning. And this air pollution, further, it can cause various respiratory disorders like breathing problems, allergies, and asthma attacks. So this is news related to stubble burning. Now there's another news, that is Nirdhar. Nirdhar is CSIR NEERI's initiative to develop a domestic multi-fuel stove. Remember, it is domestic multi-fuel stove. And Nirdhar is the name. It is an improved cook stove, and it has been developed for improving stove efficiency and for emission reduction. So when I was discussing this indoor air pollution, I had told you that traditional chulas, they actually lead to a whole lot of emissions. The smoke is emitted, and that is harmful for human health. And the stove is also, the traditional chulas are not that energy efficient. So a new stove has been designed by CSIR NEERI. CSIR is Center for Scientific and Industrial Research, and NEERI is National Environment Engineering Research Institute, right? And it is a multi-fuel. Multi-fuel means biomass can be used, charcoal can be used, and agriculture residue can be used as a fuel, right? Okay, so this is the convention chulas, and this is the neither. Okay, so neither can be asked in prelims. Now coming on to the next topic, that is Aviation Climate Accord. Aviation Climate Accord, this is world's first agreement to curb greenhouse gas emission through this aviation industry, and it was signed by 191 nations in a landmark UN accord. Remember, India has opted out of this aviation climate accord, and this was mainly because India thought that this particular accord is not equitable, because India's aviation industry is actually growing, and it may affect the Indian aviation industry, because we have to limit greenhouse gas emission, and then we have to certainly use new technologies for that. Now, it applies to passenger and cargo flights both. It aims at reducing the growing climate impact of plane travel, and this system will be voluntary until 2027, after which it will be made mandatory. Okay. Now, another experiment, that is YFX, winter fog experiment. So this experiment was recently conducted, and it was to improve our forecasting of winter fog. Now, why we are forecasting winter fog? Because fog can actually hamper aviation, it can hamper transportation and economy, and also loss of human life due to accidents. So especially in North India, we face the problem of fog. So for better forecasting, we have launched this YFX experiment, that is winter fog experiment. Now, it will study the characteristics and variability of fog events and associated dynamics, the density of fog, the thickness, and the timing, and so that we can easily forecast it, and we can accordingly issue alerts. Okay, so this is how fog is there during winters in India, right? Now, what is fog? Let's briefly discuss it. Now, see, fog is actually a condensed form of water, right? So, it's actually a low-lying cloud where accumulation of water takes place from local water bodies. So, fog is actually a cloud, but remember, it is low-lying cloud, and it is actually a form of condensation only. Okay. Now, this fog, it generally lasts longer it rarely lasts longer after sunrise, and has no major ill effect other than reducing visibility. So the main impact is on aviation and transportation industry, because it hampers visibility. But when the fog is mixed with smoke, that is the pollutants emitted from, say, vehicular emission or from industry, then it leads to a problem of smog. Now, smog is harmful for human health. So air pollutants from cars like SO2, NO2, and other industrial pollutants like CO and other organic compounds, ozone, particulate matter, when they mix with fog, they form a denser layer which all the more hampers the visibility. And this is known as smog. So it not only hampers visibility, but it also affects human health. As such, fog doesn't affect human health, but smog affects human health. Okay. Now, this is how a fog occurs. So, suppose in India, in winters, what happens? The land is very much cool, and the air in contact with land, it will also become cooler. So, in normal conditions, as we move away from the Earth's surface, the temperature gradually reduces in troposphere. But in this case, in winters, what happens? The land is very cold, and the air just in contact with the land, this air will be relatively cooler than the layer lying above it. Now, this condition is known as temperature inversion. So, for fog formation, the conditions that are required are long and cooler nights. There should be calm air. Then only such temperature inversion condition will prevail, and then only the air lying near the ground, in that condensation of water will take place, and that will lead to fog. So, fog are low lying clouds. Okay. Now let's discuss another topic, that is NGT, National Green Tribunal. It had recently imposed a ban on burning of waste in open places, and it had announced a fine of rupees 25,000 on each incident of bulk waste burning, and 5,000 in case of simple burning. Okay, so what are these pollutants that are actually emitted from these open waste burning? Dioxins may be emitted, furans, arsenic, mercury, PCBs, lead, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxides, and hydraulic acids. So these can be emitted from the pollutants, and these are very harmful. They can lead to respiratory problems, right? Especially to people, to children, as well as to old age people. They can be very harmful. Exposure to dioxins and furans, that can lead to cancer, so it is carcinogenic. It can also lead to liver problems. It can lead to impairment of immune system, endocrine system, reproductive functions, right? And it can also affect the nervous system, especially in children. Okay, so these are the various effects of the pollutants that are emitted due to open waste burning, and that's why National Green Tribunal has banned this. Okay, now let's discuss current affairs related to water pollution. Recently, there was this two cargo ships. They collided near Ennore Port. Where is Ennore Port? Ennore Port is in Tamil Nadu. It's near Chennai. Okay. Now, this collision of cargo ships, it has led to oil spill. Now, there is a serious repercussion of oil spill. So let's discuss the effects of oil spill. Now, this bunker oil is heavy oil. It has weight as well as it has density. So it actually becomes like a tar ball, and it sinks to the bottom of the sea, and it may also settle on the seabed. So what happens actually whenever there is an oil spill, that can restrict the oxygen supply to marine life. So whenever there is an oil spill, this will be the oil spill on the water surface, and it will restrict the oxygen supply to the marine life in the water. Turtles, they need to come up every time. They need to come up to the surface to breathe, right? Whenever they are in sea, so whenever they will come up and they will breathe, then and if there is oil spill above, then it will affect the health of turtles. Oil spill, it also affects the ecosystem. Why? Because it leads to poisoning of marine life, and once the marine life is poisoned, it can easily enter in the food chain by bioaccumulation or bio magnification. Plus it can affect the human life also, because humans are also at one of the trophic level of this food chain, right? And as I told you, it will lead to poisoning of marine life. Why? Because there is heavy concentration of heavy metals like zinc, lead, arsenic in the oil spill. Now these materials, these are non-biodegradable. So what happens? They keep on accumulating, and they keep on getting transferred from one trophic level to other trophic level, and these cannot be easily removed by bioremediation also. So the problem is, these heavy materials, once they are accumulated, they always lead to bioaccumulation, plus they lead to biomagnification whenever we move higher up in the trophic levels. Okay, and then the thick oil, it also washes ashore, creating reservoirs on the beaches of toxic chemicals. So it can also affect tourism also, especially on the beaches where nearby, wherever this oil spill has occurred. So these are the main effects of harmful effects of oil spill. Now we had discussed the term bioremediation. That here we had discussed that heavy materials, they are non-biodegradable and they cannot be removed by bioremediation. So let's discuss this term bioremediation. Now see what happens in bioremediation. The word bio here means that through a natural process, that is, here small living organisms like microbes are used to clean up the contaminated soil. This process is also used for cleaning up oil spills. Okay, now what happens? These microbes or the microorganisms, they are added, right? They are added to the sludge, right? It may be contaminated soil, it may be oil spill, and they are added with nutrients for treating the sludge. So you can see it here. This is on the micro scale. Here microbes are added. You can see it here. Microbes are added. They will get attached to the pollutant, right? And then they will consume that pollutant and they will emit gases. So this is how oil spill can be solved. Okay, so the special microbes, they are added with nutrients for treating the collected sludge. R&D Center of India recently developed a non-hazardous bioremediation process named Olivorus STM. This can be asked in prelims. Olivorus STM, which was developed by Center to deal with such onshore oil spill. Okay, this is important. One, they can ask what is bioremediation. Second, they can ask what is this Olivorus STM that was recently in news. Okay, and in this process, the identified microbes, as I told you, the microorganisms, they will eat away the oil and sludge, right? And eventually they will release CO2, and they will leave the soil or the that whole oil spill area completely oil free and harmless. So this whole oil spill will be treated, and it will be this microbes will consume that those harmful that oil spill, and CO2 will be released in the atmosphere. So this is how through bioremediation, through a natural process, oil spills are treated. Okay. Now another topic that is related to microplastic. So disposal of microplastic in sea, that is there was a news that national fishermen folk, they had urged the government to ban the disposal of microplastic. Now what are microplastic? Let's discuss this and why they are asking government to ban it. So microplastics are synthetic organic polymer particles. See, plastic is a polymer. Okay, so this microplastics are, again, these are synthetic polymers, and by micro because their size is less than 5 mm. And these microplastics, the harmful effect is that they are easily consumed by fishes, they are consumed by sea animals, right? And they again pass on from one food chain to other, and they eventually lead to bioaccumulation and biomagnification. Okay, so it can lead to poisoning, it can lead to infertility in marine organism, it can also lead to genetic disruption in the marine life, right? And if they enter in the human food chain, then certainly it will affect humans also. Okay, so you can see it here. What are the various means through which this microplastics they enter in the oceans or in the water body? Okay, so one is plastic waste that is dumped in the ocean, right? Then paintings and maintenance of ships, that can also introduce plastic. Wear and tear from car tires, then loss from plastic production, then painting and maintenance of building, construction, roads, washing of textiles, waste treatment, dumping of paints because paints they have micro plastics, indoor dust, and cosmetics. So microplastic can enter in the oceans or water body through these mechanisms. Okay, now once it enters, this plastic waste is broken down into various pieces of secondary microplastic, right? So it is further broken down, and then it actually leads to secondary microplastic. How it is broken down? Because it can be broken down by various mechanisms like wind, it can be broken down by waves, right? And these microplastics are then ingested by the animals. Once they are ingested by the animals, they can cause harmful effects. For example, they can cause internal injuries, they can lead to a false sense of fullness, right? And this microplastic can further accumulate, that is bioaccumulate in the marine organisms, and it can enter human food chain as well. Okay, so this is a very prominent problem of this water bodies, especially oceans, and that's why the national fishermen folk, they have urged the central government to ban the disposal of microplastics into the sea. Okay. Now, another news related to water pollution, that is certain chemicals banned in 1970s, they were discovered in deep ocean fauna. So what does that mean? That these chemicals were persistent. Persistent means these were persistent organic pollutants. That's why even they were banned in 1970s, but still they are found in deep ocean fauna. Okay. So researchers found extremely high levels of POP, that is persistent organic pollutants, in the organism's fatty tissue. These include PCBs, that is polychlorinated biphenyls, and PVDs, that is polybrominated diphenyl ethers. Now these are commonly used as electrical insulators and flame retardants. Okay, but these were banned, like PCBs were banned in 1970s only. But these pollutants are resistant to degradation by environment. That is, these pollutants are highly persistent. They can resist the degradation of environment, and that is why they have survived even after banning it in 1970. Okay, and the pollutants may have found in their way to the trenches in the oceans through contaminated plastic debris and dead animals sinking to the bottom of the ocean. So this is how they have reached the deep ocean bottom. Okay. Now, what are POP, and that is persistent organic pollutants, and what is the convention related to POP? So let's discuss this. POP are organic compounds. So it is organic compound that are resistant to environment degradation through chemical, biological, and photolytic process. So any process will not degrade these persistent organic pollutant. That's why they are persistent. So not chemical process, nor biological, nor photolytic process will degrade these persistent organic pollutants. Now, because of their persistence, they keep on accumulating in the marine organism, right? And they can also enter human food chain. Okay, these are lipophilic, that means that they accumulate in the fatty tissue, right, of living animals and human beings, and that is why, see, they keep on accumulating in the fatty tissue. That is what is known as bioaccumulation. Okay, and their concentration can be magnified up to 70,000 times higher than the background level. So this is actually a very prominent problem. They keep on bioaccumulating. Okay, and there is a convention, Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutant. So this treaty was signed in 2001. It became effective after ratification from 2004, and it aims to eliminate or restrict the production as well as use of POPs. So these are the POPs that are covered in the Stockholm Convention. These are the pesticides that are covered: DDT, aldrin, chlorodane, etc. These are the industrial chemicals that are covered: PCBs, HCB, and these are unintentionally produced byproducts, that is dioxin, furans. These are all covered under Stockholm Convention. Okay. Now let's discuss another topic related to water pollution. That is, recently what has happened, Cabinet has approved the River Ganga Rejuvenation, Protection and Management Authorities Order 2016. Now this order, it will provide creation of National Council for River Ganga as an authority for overall responsibility for superintendence of pollution, prevention and rejuvenation of River Ganga. So what does that mean? See, now we will have a dedicated authority, that is this National Council for River Ganga. It will now be treated as an authority, and the responsibility of this authority will be it will actually supervise the pollution prevention and rejuvenation of River Ganga. Right. Apart from this, there will be an empowered task force that will be set up as per this order, and there will be a three-layered structure. A three-tier structure means initially at the national level there will be NMCG, that is National Mission for Clean Ganga. This will be an authority at the central level. It will issue directions to the states, and it will also exercise the powers under Environment Protection Act. Okay, at the state level there will be state Ganga committees. Okay, so each state that is located along the bank of River Ganga, that will have state Ganga committee. Then at the district level there will be district Ganga committee in each of the Ganga bank district, right, and it will carry out the assigned task as an authority at the district level. So this is the three-tier structure: NMCG at the national level, state Ganga committee at the state level, and district Ganga committee at the district level. Okay, so what are the main features of NMCG? So NMCG will take action only in the event when required action is not taken by CPCB. So whenever an action is not taken by Central Pollution Control Board, then NMCG will come into action. Okay, and as I told you, a special focus of the revamped structure would be to maintain ecological flow. So as per this authority, remember, this authority is mainly for supervision of pollution prevention and rejuvenation. That is National Council for River Ganga. This authority is for supervision. NMCG, it will come into play when CPC is not taking any required action, right? And the focus would be to ensure ecological flow in the river in the River Ganga, with the aim of ensuring water quality and environmentally sustainable development. So in this case, the main focus is on ensuring the ecological flow of River Ganga, plus the water quality has to be maintained. Okay, so let's now discuss about the Namami Gange project that was launched, that is also known as Integrated Ganga Conservation Mission. Right, it's an ambitious union government project. Remember, it's a union government project, and the main objective of the project is to clean and protect Ganga River, and that will be in a comprehensive manner. So that's why, since it's in a very comprehensive manner, that's why it's not only Ministry of Water Resource and Ganga Rejuvenation is involved. There are various ministries that are involved in this. Although the nodal ministry is Water Resource Ministry, but it also includes Ministry of Environment, it includes Ministry of Urban Development, Ministry of Shipping, Tourism and Rural Development Ministry. So remember, all these ministries are there in this Namami Gange project. Okay. Apart from this, another fact that has to be focused is, one, it will cover 8 states, it will cover 47 towns, and it will cover 12 rivers. So what are those 12 rivers? Let's discuss them. These are the 12 rivers: Ganga, Yamuna, Gomti, Damodar, Mahananda, Ram Ganga. These are all tributaries of Ganga. Chambal is a tributary of Yamuna, Bihar, Khan, Shipra, Betwa, Mandakini. So these are the 12 rivers that are covered in this. It covers 8 states and it covers 12 rivers. Okay, remember this is important. The 12 rivers for prelims is important. Now moving on to the main provisions under Namami Gange project. So the prime focus will be on ensuring that the people living on the river bank, they participate in this project. Right? That's why the Panchayati Raj institution, urban local bodies will be actively involved in this project. Okay, and there will be setting up of river centric urban planning. I told you that Ministry of Urban Planning is also involved in this. So setting up of river centric urban planning will be there to facilitate better citizen connects, and there will be river fronts will be developed, right? There will be intervention that the ghats and river fronts will be developed for ensuring very good water quality and for ensuring the ecological flow of river. Apart from this, there will be coverage of sewage infrastructure, urban, that is, it will be treated, sewage infrastructure, sewage, solid waste management will be ensured, plus the sewage before dumping it into the Ganga river, it will be properly treated, and then only it will be disposed of. Enforcement of Ganga specific river regulatory zones will be there. There will be rational agricultural practices that will be followed, because there is agriculture runoff that actually pollutes the river. So agriculture has also been kept into mind. Efficient irrigation methods will be utilized, and there will be a Gangapedia or a Ganga knowledge center. Ganga knowledge center will be there, plus a Gangapedia, that is a portal that has all the information related to Ganga will also be there. Now the pollution that actually it will be checked through various methods. One is by applying bioremediation. So bioremediation concept we have just now discussed, right? So bioremediation can be used in treating rivers, for addressing the problem of pollution, for addressing problem of oil spill also. Okay. Then treatment of waste through in situ treatment. In situ means at that same place only. So there will be in situ treatment. Suppose if there is any factory located near the banks of river, so there will be proper sewage treatment plant will be there, right? So water will be treated and then only it will be discharged. Treatment of waste water by use of innovative technology, treatment of wastewater through municipal sewage, and there will be effluent treatment plants. Okay. Immediate measures to arrest inflow of sewage. That's what I have told you. So sewage will not be directly dumped into the river. There will be a public-private partnership approach that will be followed for pollution control. So it is very participative approach, because citizens are involved in this, private sector is involved, and definitely government is involved in it. And there will be a territorial army Ganga Eco Task Force. So this is for ensuring the proper supervision and monitoring of this whole Namami Gange project. Okay. Now another topic related to water pollution. It's not exactly related to water pollution, but yes, it is related to pollution. That is India's first green corridor. Now remember, this is green corridor. There is another concept of green energy corridor that is different. Green corridor is mainly related to the railway stretch that is 114-kilometer long Manna Madurai Rameshwaram stretch of Southern Railway. That is India's first green corridor. Now what does this green corridor mean? That is a train corridor. And what does this green corridor mean? That is, the trains in this particular stretch will have bio toilets, and there will be zero discharge of human waste on tracks, because the discharge of human waste on track, it actually led to various problems like corrosion of tracks. So the railways, every time they have to invest a lot in replacing those tracks. Plus there was issues related to health and hygiene. So now this stretch is green corridor, where there will be usage of bio toilets. Okay. Plus in the trains as well as on the stations also. Okay. Now what are these bio toilets? So bio toilets, this concept is actually a part of Swachh Bharat mission, and these bio toilets, it help in providing cleanliness and hygiene, as I told you, because earlier the waste was directly discharged on the tracks. So there was a problem of hygiene, and it will prevent corrosion of tracks. Okay, and these bio toilets have been developed by Indian Railways and DRDO, right? So this is mainly Indian Railway had developed this in association with DRDO. Now, what are these bio toilets? Let's discuss this. This question can be asked in prelims. Bio toilets, they actually use a colony of anaerobic bacteria. So here is a sheet that has immobilized bacteria. Immobilized means the bacteria actually don't move. So they are immobilized, they are embedded on this sheet, and these bacteria, they will convert the human waste into water plus small amount of gases. For example, methane and CO2, these gases will be emitted. Right? These gases are released into the atmosphere, and the water will be discharged after chlorination on tracks. So the tracks will not be contaminated. Okay, so this is how the waste will flow from the sheet that has the immobilized bacteria. Bacteria will convert the human waste into water and small amount of gases, and then there will be outlet of gases. So this is how the whole reaction will take place. Initially there is hydrolysis, then fermentation will take place, then anaerobic oxidation will take place, and then there is methanogenesis, where CH4 plus CO2 will be formed, and this will be released in the atmosphere. So you can see another diagram. These are the tanks or the containers, right? And these are the sheets where this immobilized bacteria will be kept. Okay, and the water outlet will be there. It will be chlorinated, and then it will be discharged on the tracks, and then there will be an outlet for methane plus CO2 gas. Okay, now another topic related to pollution, that is, this is related to pesticide as such. Recently, a committee, that is Anupam Verma committee report, it came out, and as per the advice of or recommendations of this report, Centre will ban use of 18 out of 66 pesticides in India because it involves risk to human and animals. Now, these pesticides, see, there are various pesticides used in India. There are some pesticides that are banned or restricted in other countries, but they are heavily used in India, and they are highly toxic. It affects the ecosystem, it affects human health, right? And it can enter human food chain also. It can affect, it can also lead to marine pollution, okay, because through agriculture and off, they can easily enter in the river water bodies or in the seas and oceans. Okay, so recently this committee can be asked. This committee was Anupam Verma committee. He was actually a professor of in Indian Agriculture Research Institute, and he headed this committee, and he has suggested that there will be banned, there will be out of 66 pesticide, 18 pesticides will be banned in India. Why? Because certainly there is a risk to animals and humans. Now there are some hazardous pesticides that are still not in the banned list. For example, paraquat dichloride, it is a highly hazardous herbicide. Although it is banned in Kerala, but it is not banned in the rest of India. Remember, now this use of paraquat is banned in at least 32 countries, including European Union, because it has adverse health effect, but still it is used in India. Apart from paraquat dichloride, glyphosate, another herbicide that is not in the ban list, even though World Health Organization has classified it as a carcinogenic chemical. So that's what I told you. There are various pesticides in India that are still not banned. Recently, as per Anupam Verma committee report, 18 pesticides, it has been recommended that 18 pesticides should be banned out of 66 pesticides. Okay. Then endosulfan, it was also in news because it is the most toxic pesticide, and it certainly has very disastrous or hazardous effects on human genetic and endocrine system. But remember, although this endosulfan is banned in various countries, it is also, there is a global ban on the manufacture and use of endosulfan under Stockholm Convention on POP that we have recently discussed. But it is still extensively used in India, plus in China and some other countries also. But this is a very hazardous pesticide. Okay, and it is sprayed as pesticides on crops like cotton, fruits, tea, paddy, cashew, tobacco, etc. And this is mainly for controlling of pests like whiteflies, beetles, worms, etc. So remember, endosulfan, that is highly toxic pesticide. It is not banned in India. Paraquat dichloride, this is not banned in India, and glyphosate, that is also not banned in India. Okay. Now, another topic, that is arsenic contamination. Arsenic is a natural component in Earth's crust, right? But then arsenic is harmful for human health. It is widely distributed in air, in water, and in land, but it is highly toxic. So, contamination of arsenic or contamination of water can take place. That is contamination of water used for drinking, for irrigation, for food, and this may eventually enter the human food chain. Okay, so what are the harmful effects of arsenic? Let's discuss this. These are the effects of this is how arsenic affects the human foot, right? And arsenic, you can see the hands, the foot, right? It can also cause skin cancer. It can lead to neurological disorders. Okay, now let's discuss how this arsenic enters the human food chain. What are the main pathways through which arsenic can enter the human food chain. One is arsenic can enter the human food chain through rock erosion. So in rocks there is arsenic, and if there is weathering of rock and erosion of rock, then it can eventually through rivers or through other like agent of erosion, it can enter the human food chain. Then the main source of arsenic in drinking water, as I told you that there may be contamination of water through arsenic. So main source of arsenic in drinking water is arsenic rich rocks. So there is bedrock where there is arsenic, and especially in the northern India there are arsenic rich rocks. So whenever we use groundwater, that groundwater may be contaminated with arsenic. Okay, and when contaminated groundwater is used to irrigate fields, this arsenic can accumulate in the crops, and when the crops they are eaten by the human, then it will definitely enter the human food chain. So arsenic can also enter surface water through runoff from agriculture and industrial activity, and in those communities where they cook, they actually use that groundwater that is contaminated with arsenic, they use it for cooking, then it will directly enter the human food chain. So these are the various pathways through which arsenic enters the human food chain, and these are the various effects of arsenic. So it can cause skin cancer, it can affect human food, and it can also lead to neurological disorders. This is arsenic poisoning. Then another topic, that is NGT, National Green Tribunal. It had ordered inspection of biomedical waste plants. So let's discuss what is biomedical and what was this whole biomedical waste, and what was this whole issue of NGT ordering inspection of biomedical waste. So National Green Tribunal has ordered inspection of plants which treat waste in the hospitals of NCR, that is National Capital Delhi, and it ensures proper segregation, collection and disposal. So there should be proper segregation at source, then collection and then disposal. So waste plants, they will be inspected by joint inspection team of CPCB and Delhi Pollution Control Committee, and they will ensure that proper collection, segregation and disposal of biomedical waste. So what is biomedical waste? Now biomedical waste, these are those waste that are generated in the hospitals. So any solid or liquid waste, it may including its container as well, and any intermediate product generated during diagnosis, during treatment of any human being, or immunization of human beings or animals, or any of this solid or liquid waste that is generated during research activity. Now this biomedical waste can actually lead to two main hazards. One is it is toxic, right? Because that may contain heavy metals, that may contain toxic metals, right? And infectious. It can also lead to infections. So these are the two main problems with respect to biomedical waste. And the biomedical waste may contain various things like human anatomical waste like organs, tissues, any body part like skin, etc. Waste like needles, syringes, broken glass, discarded medicines, cytotoxic drugs, liquid waste from any of the infected area. Okay, and you can see it here. These are the bags that you might have seen, the color coded bins that are there kept in the hospitals. Like black bag is for cytotoxic waste, red bag is for any infectious waste, that is plastic waste, and yellow bag is for again infectious waste, but it is for non-plastic. Green bag is for recyclable waste. So you might have seen such color coded bins in the hospitals or in diagnostic center. Okay, blue bag is for infectious sharp waste. This puncture proof bag is for this puncture proof can is for infectious and injurious sharp waste. So these are all biomedical waste. So you should know what is biomedical waste, what are the problems related to biomedical waste, and the recent order of NGT. Now let's discuss what is NGT. This NGT is very much in news every time. So NGT, it was established, that is National Green Tribunal. It was established on 18th October 2010. So it was established in 2010 under the National Green Tribunal Act 2010. So there was an act, and under this NGT was established. It was for effective and expeditious disposal of cases related to environment pollution. So this is for effective and expeditious disposal of cases, because there is a whole lot of pending of cases in high courts and supreme court. So a dedicated organization was created mainly for environment protection. Now NGT has power to hear all civil cases related to environment issues and questions that are linked to implementations of laws listed in Schedule 1 of NGT Act 2010. So what all acts are covered under NGT? Remember, this question can be asked in prelims. One is Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. Then Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act, Pollution Cess Act 1977. Forest Conservation Act 1980. Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. Environment Protection Act 1986. Public Liability Insurance Act 1991. And Biological Diversity Act 2002. Remember, Wildlife Conservation Act is not there in this, right? So this question can be asked in prelims, that what all acts are covered in NGT. So this is all we have learned about pollution, about air pollution, water pollution, and any topic like bio toilets, etc. That is somewhat related to pollution, pesticides, etc. So keep on focusing on those aspects that can be asked in prelims. So thank you. If you want me to take next part of this, then do write it in the comment section. Thank you.